Let me again welcome you to Medzone African Motives. Let me again welcome you to Medzone African Motives. So, as we are still on business studies, grade 10, term 2 notes. So, we are under notes on business sectors. So, in this presentation, we're going to look at the formal, and informal sectors. Also, we are going to look at public and private sectors. So we are going to look at those formal and informal sectors, public and private sectors. So that is what we are going to discuss together. This is what you're going to discuss together in this presentation. As it says, learners must be able to define or explain the meaning of formal and informal sectors and give practical example of each. Also, it further on says, conduct research on the importance of the formal and informal sector. Also, explain or tabulate, distinguish or differentiate between the formal and informal sector. And define and explain the meaning of public and private sector. And as well as to explain the main purpose of the public and private sector. And lastly, explain and differentiate or tabulate, distinguish between the public and private sector. So learners must know all this at the end of this presentation that is start. So now let us quickly go to the formal and informal sector. Formal and informal sector. And we are going to start with the meaning of the formal sector. We are going to start with the meaning of the formal sector. As it is, formal sector refers to the business that are registered and pays tax. Formal sectors are the business that are registered and paid tax. Those are recorded sectors. They are known to authorities. So that is that. So we are saying these businesses are legally recognized by the government. That is why I'm saying they are known to the authorities. That is recorded sector, formal sector. So we can talk about, for example, as a registered supermarket pays tax. So that is that. It further on says the formal sector within the mainstream of the economy. So it is part of the mainstream economy. They operate within the official economy. That's what this statement or point means. For example, banks and big companies, they operate within official economy. Hope you are together, good people. It further on says this sector includes small, medium, and large business. So it means it covers all sizes of formal businesses. So you can talk of small shop, medium factory, large companies. So that is that. Again, employees are protected in many ways such as unemployment funds, disability, injured on duty of industry. So employees are protected. Employees are protected. Workers receive benefits like UIF and compensation. So that is that. So a worker gets paid when injured at work. That is what we are saying. The employees are protected. They are controlled by laws, regulations of government. So they are controlled by laws and regulations, meaning they must follow government rules. Business must follow labor laws, for example. keep accounting records and audit their books. So they record all their financial activities. So companies must prepare financial statements. They must prepare like income statement, like statement of financial position, like cash flow statement. So they must keep record. They must have record, and their books are to be audited. That is that. It is a capital intensive as it involves using machinery and equipment. So it means under the formal sector, what it requires a lot of money and machinery. So that is that. They operate under acknowledged form of ownership, such as partnerships, close corporations, companies, sole proprietors. So it means they have legal structures. It means they have what? Legal structures. That is that. So now let us move on to the importance of the formal sector. Importance of formal sector. Let us be under importance of formal sector. As it says, they supply legal products. They supply legal products. Goods sold are approved by law. The goods that they are selling are approved by law. That is that. Products supplied by the formal sector are guaranteed, which means that faulty goods can be returned. So it means faulty goods can be returned. For example, returning a broken TV to a store. That is that. They employ many people with different skills and qualifications. So they provide jobs for qualified workers. So that is that. So now let us move on, good people, to the meaning of informal sector now. Meaning of informal sector. As it says, informal sector refers to the business that are not registered and does not pay tax. So this is unrecorded sector. They are not known to the officials. They don't pay tax. So that is that. We are talking of those businesses that are not registered, that do not pay tax. So this business operate without legal registration. They operate without legal registration. You can talk of street vendor selling fruits. Those people, they are not legal. They are not legal registered. They are not legally registered. They don't pay tax. So they operate underground. This sector includes activities by people who are unable to find jobs. So it means it includes people who cannot find formal jobs. So many people start small business to survive. So that is that. Can just start a small business selling snacks just for you to survive. This sector, this is where we're saying they fall outside the mainstream of economy under informal sector. So it means not officially recognized in the economy. So that is that. Those people, roadside car washers, they are not. They are outside the mainstream of the economy. So that is that. Because they are not recognized in the economy. It is a labor intensive as it does not require huge capital outlay for establishment. So it uses more people than machines. So uses human effort instead of machines. So that is that. Employees are not protected and they can be exploited. So employees are not protected, workers have no legal protection. So no compensation if they are injured. That is that. Not monitored by government. So no strict rules or control as they are not monitored even by government. Not added to the gross domestic product GDP figures. So their income is not fully recorded. Examples of informal business include street vendors, spaza shops, hairdressers, flea markets, daycare for children, general handyman services. So that is that, good people. Let us move on. Let us move on. So now we come to the importance of informal sector. The importance of informal sector. Importance of informal sector. So the importance of informal sector. That is that. So as it says, provides jobs or income to communities, thereby alleviate poverty, provide jobs, income to communities, thereby they alleviate poverty. Meaning to say they helps reduce poverty, helps reduce what? Poverty. Example, selling vegetables to earn money. So you're trying to fight poverty. People working in the informal sector gain work experience to be used for the formal sector. So this sector gives what? Work experience. That is the importance of it. It helps people gain skills. So that is that. It encourages entrepreneurship as a self-employment. So promote self-employment. So you can start your small business. So that is that. Also provides opportunity for marginalized or disadvantaged people by encouraging a street trade. So it helps disadvantaged people. So it creates opportunities for poor communities. So whereby they can start their street trading. Services serve as a buffer between employment and unemployment. So it acts as a buffer for unemployment, helps people survive without formal jobs. So these are the importance of what? Of informal sector. So let us move on to difference now. Differences between formal as well as informal sector. So this is where we are now. Difference between formal and informal sector. So now we are on formal sector. So we're going to talk about these differences. As it says, under formal sector, industries in this sector are legally registered. Meaning to say formal sector is registered. Formal sector is registered, while least informal sector is not legally registered. Informal is not. For example, registered company versus street vendor, which is informal sector. Like we've said, under formal sector, the sectors are known to the authorities as we know very well that they pay tax. This one, they are not known to authorities. Fall between mainstream of the economy. Fall between mainstream of the economy. So formal is mainstream. So informal fall outside the mainstream of the economy, also known as the second or marginalized economy. So this one, informal is outside. For example, bank, which is formal sector, versus roadside stall, which is informal sector. That is that. It is registered and pays tax. We are talking about the formal sector. It pays tax. Formal pays tax. What about informal? It is not registered and does not pay tax. Informal does not pay tax. So here we're talking about company tax versus no tax. It is made up of small, medium, and large business. You're talking about formal sector. It means when you're talking about small, medium, and large, we're talking about formal equals to all business sizes, while informal is a small scale operations. So informal is small scales, is equal to small scale. So that is when you're talking about big factory versus small store. So that is that. Employees are protected as they receive unemployment funds, disability funds, injured on duties. So formal workers are protected. But with informal workers, there is no protection. As it says, employees are not protected and can be exploited. That is that. So, meaning to say, under formal, we know we have UIF, unemployed insurance fund. But under informal, there are no benefits that you're going to get. They are controlled by the laws, formal sector, and regulations of the government. You're talking about formal sector that is controlled by law. We are talking about we can talk of labor laws. But with informal sector, they are not tracked by any form of government. So informal, no, not control, no regulation. Higher capital is required under a formal sector. A high capital under Formal. Formal needs high capital. But what about informal? Low capital needed for operation. So informal, low capital. So that is that. So let us move on. The output can be measured into countries' gross domestic product. We're talking of GDP under formal sector. So formal contributes to GDP. Informal estimates should be made to measure contribution into the country's GDP. That is informal. So informal is estimated. That is that. Usually more labor intensive. So this one, that is there is an error here because this one is supposed to come this side and this one this side. So they made an error there on these notes because when you talk of formal sector, usually more skill intensive. It is supposed to come this side. So when you talk of informal sector, usually it's more labor intensive. So they just made a mistake there. So that is that we know for sure that formal, we need skilled, but informal is more labor-based. So that is that. Usually include manufacturing and banking, insurance, and large retail companies. So that is formal, but informal usually includes street vendors, spaza shops, hairdressers, and other home-based activities. So let us move on. So under informal, employees have steady income, while this informal employees' income is inconsistent. Not easy to enter in this sector as business had to be legally registered. That is formal sector. But under informal, easy to enter the sector as there are no legal formalities needed. But with formal sector, higher capital is required in this sector. Here, lower capital needed for operation. Hope we are together with people and let us move on. Now we move on to the public sector and private sector. Public sector and private sector. So we are first going to talk about the meaning of public sector. On the meaning of the public sector, as it says, public sector is a state-owned or state-run or parastatals. So we are saying it is owned and run by the government. Public sector is owned and run by the government. So government controls these organizations. For example, we can talk of public hospitals. So that is that. Aimed at meeting the needs of the society. So it means it focuses on helping the people. It focuses on helping people. That is that. For example, providing healthcare to the society or to the community. It is non-profit organizations. Non-profit organizations are categorized under the public sector. They are categorized under public sector, non-profit organization. So it means not focus on making profit. They are not profit-oriented sector. So that is that. Businesses in this sector are partly or wholly funded by tax money. So they are funded by taxes. So that is that they are funded by taxes. Money comes from citizens. So that is that. They use taxes to build schools, to build hospitals. That is that. The motive is not to make profit, but to offer services. So their main aim is service, not profit. That is the main aim of the public sector. So that is that. Focus is public welfare. So, for example, we can talk of free education. So that's that. Now let us move on to the purpose of public sector. Purpose of the public sector. It says the public sector includes those industries that are controlled by the government. So we are seeing government manages operations. For example, public transport systems. So that's that. offers affordable services that the private sector offers. So offers affordable services. Services are cheaper than private ones. So we can talk of public hospitals. It means you're not going to pay anything there. Aims to meet the needs of society. So provides essential services. You can talk of water, electric supply, and stuff like that. So that is that. Public sector business do not aim to make profit. So does not aim to make profit. Focus is service delivery. That's all. Focus is service delivery. Provides now people with job opportunities. Provides people with job opportunities. So they provide jobs, employs many people. We talk of teachers, police officers, nurses. Improves the general standard of living of all people. So it helps people live better lives. So that is that. Controls pollution and protects and conserves natural resources such as water, wildlife, and precious stones. So it ensures, it does what? It protects the environment and resources, controls pollution and conserves nature. That is that. Like we talk of wildlife protection. Ensures that wealth of the country spread equally among the rich and as well as poor. So that is that. So it ensures that wealth of the country spread equally among the rich and the poor. So it means we are saying it ensures fair distribution of wealth. So it reduces inequality. So that is that. Offers valuable services such as public roads, public hospitals, or public school. So it provides important services, essential for daily life, like the region of roads, the region of schools, the region of hospital. So that is that. So this is the end of this presentation. Please make use of this, go through it to know much about these business sectors. Thank you very much for your time.